Tonight, hundreds of locals turn out to microchip their pets before new legislation comes into place. And a win for residents in Jamestown as the local council begins to upgrade footpaths.
This is Southern Cross News with Fraser Goldsworthy.
Good evening. First tonight, a Broken Hill man is facing a number of charges after a violent domestic dispute. Police allege the 22-year-old attempted to strangle his ex-girlfriend during an argument early yesterday morning. Patrick Reinke has more.
At about 1 a.m. on Sunday, police say the 22-year-old man and his 25-year-old ex-girlfriend got into an argument at his home on Bismuth Street. As a result, police allege the man punched the woman in the face a number of times and attempted to strangle her. He also flipped a bed she was hiding under, took her phone and proceeded to kick her while she was cowering on the ground. The woman was forced into the bathroom where the man reportedly continued to try and strangle her until she passed out. He then poured water over her to revive her and then refused to let her leave the house. At around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, the man left and the woman managed to escape and call police. The woman was taken to hospital with a broken nose, broken ribs and soft tissue damage. The man fronted Broken Hill Local Court today, charged with a raft of offences including assault and kidnapping. He was refused bail and is due back in court in the coming months.
Patrick Reinke reporting there. A man and a woman have been arrested over a break-in at Whyalla Stewart. A Dunsford Street home was broken into sometime between Saturday night and Sunday morning. Furniture, cameras and garden tools were taken. Police investigations saw them search a home where a large amount of stolen property was allegedly found. A 31-year-old woman and a 26-year-old man were arrested and charged with serious criminal trespass and theft. They were released on bail and will front court in August. Pet owners in Port Augusta today had the opportunity to get their cats and dogs microchipped at the Chiplets program. It gave owners the chance to secure their pet's identity before new legislation takes effect in July.
Whether you have a canine or a feline, or maybe both, there's a program to ease the worry and the cost of microchipping your pets.
And they go around the state to all the different councils, giving the public and the community and the dog and cat owners the chance at a reasonable price to do the right thing.
In Port Augusta, over 230 pets were booked in to get chipped, plus the number of walk-ins off the street.
Community are really getting behind the new laws and trying to do the right thing and participate.
Whether their dogs or cats were weeks or years old, the Blitz urged people to take advantage of the subsidised session. The small fee, a nearly 90% reduction of the normal price.
At the end of the day, it's a simple process, it's $10, it doesn't hurt, and your pet's safer.
Christine says the small process could go a long way to help families find their rogue pets.
When you lose them, that's really devastating, so getting them back quicker because of a microchip is a really satisfying thing to do.
I think it's a good thing because, you know, he does occasionally get out the back gate, so if someone was to find him when we don't, then he'd be much more easily recognised then.
With July the 1st looming, failure to have your animals microchipped by then could have consequences more fatal than a fine.
If a cat is trapped and it's not identified via a microchip or a collar, that you know, they are euthanized straight away.
For more dates on where to catch these visits in your local area, go to our Facebook page. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla man will face court after allegedly being caught drink driving. Just after 2 a.m. on Saturday, police stopped a car on Nicholson Avenue after it was spotted with no lights on. Police say the man returned a blood alcohol reading of 0.143, almost 3 times the limit. The 46-year-old lost his licence for 6 months. Meantime, a Broken Hill man has also lost his driver's licence for allegedly driving nearly 5 times over the limit. The 37-year-old tried to order food in the McDonald's drive-thru at around 6 o'clock Friday night, but reportedly fell asleep at the wheel. Staff called police, who found the man in the waiting bay still asleep with his car still running. He recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.247 and will also face court. Whyalla businesses are being invited to learn more about dealing with crime and substance abuse. Police and SA Health will provide expert advice to help owners deal with what can be difficult issues to address in the workplace.
Substance abuse generally starts privately, but the effects can be noticeable in public. For business owners, trying to assist employees who they suspect of having an issue can be a tricky task.
From a business point of view, you're talking about absenteeism, you're talking about loss of productivity, how people are performing at work, all of these sorts of issues.
Local businesses are being offered expert advice at a networking session this Wednesday night. The Chamber is hosting representatives from the police and a nurse from local drug and alcohol services. It'll discuss how to deal with someone going through substance abuse issues.
What are the behaviours that we see in the first instance? What are the processes and policies that business owners have in place?
The session will also focus on security and how they can reduce the risk of being targeted by thieves.
It's open to everybody to come along and actually just listen firsthand to some experts in the area.
Mr. Hayes says through education, businesses can be the first line of treatment and the first line of reducing crime. As society evolves, employees and employers must also adapt.
Need to have an understanding of what it means and the potential impact on their business on a daily or long-term basis.
For more information, head to our Facebook page. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Coming up, why a mid-north town is suffering from an influx of emus. The details after the break. The Northern Areas Council will upgrade footpaths in key areas around Jamestown following a campaign from locals. One community member at the heart of the push knows the struggle of getting around town all too well, her disability forcing her to use a wheelchair.
A midday stroll through Jamestown isn't too much of a challenge for most residents, but for 51-year-old Tatiana, it's more than an uncomfortable ride.
The tree roots are the worst, where I have to go around or over them, which is not very comfortable.
She's had a fall, and we've had a couple of other residents that have had falls at various times, and because the footpath has perhaps been uneven.
With the footpaths in such a terrible state, Tatiana is forced to travel along the roads.
Pull down their windows and swear and curse at me, and I've got nowhere to go.
Councillor Shane Hennis says he's now aware of just how bad the issue is, unable to get up the curb himself.
Improvement in the footpaths to the point where it's safe for our residents and people in the community.
Unevenness of surfaces, poor conditions and disabled access and pram ramps.
After years of lobbying, footpaths across the Northern Areas Council will be improved.
Most of our efforts into high traffic areas, so around aged care facilities, shopping areas, schools and main streets and that sort of thing.
The project will cost up to $724,000 and is expected to be complete by 2024. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
In little over 6 months, South Australians will go to the polls to elect representatives for their local councils. Whyalla residents interested in nominating are being asked to start thinking about the role more.
8 weeks after the state election, we're once again preparing for another poll this year. Council elections will occur statewide in November, and residents interested in running are being urged to get ready.
Coming around really quickly, so it is important if people are thinking about becoming a councillor that they have a good hard think about it and then go through the relevant process that they need to go through.
While nominations don't open until September, Council will give residents an opportunity to learn more in July. It'll host a workshop on July 26 at the Chambers to prepare nominees for the job they may end up getting.
We'll run a mock council meeting so that we can actually get involved in some of the nitty-gritty or the cut and thrust of the council processes so that people can make an informed decision.
Council says becoming an elected official is a big stepping stone and requires a lot of commitment. It's urging people to use this workshop to gather information to help them decide whether this is for them.
Working with your community does take time, and one of the important things is that you're prepared to put the time in to get the best out of the role.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Peterborough is being plagued by mobs of emus. The birds have been patrolling local paddocks and walking through the streets for weeks in search of food and water, to the amusement of locals.
Prowling the paddocks of Peterborough for over 10 days, the emus have now invaded suburbia. It's understood they're heading south, and at this rate they'll soon be spotted in other nearby communities like Orroroo, Port Augusta and Port Pirie.
We've had quite a dry period over the past 15 months and our natural waters and food resources have been depleted for various reasons. The emus are moving south from their usual habitat.
Up to 80 emus were spotted on the school oval last week, while another mob was spotted eating Mother's Day flowers at the local cemetery.
Been wandering in and around the town on different streets and in the cemetery and following the railway line up and down and on the school oval.
The numbers have grown in the past week, causing chaos on the roads and for farmers trying to seed.
One paddock outside of town last week had 200 in it, and one day this week they said there was nearly 400 in it.
They're known to be quite protective of their prey, so it's advised to watch from a distance.
Leave them be. They'll move on when they're ready.
If people go near them, they will protect their chicks or protect anything that they've got, like a bit of water or food.
Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
In the news ahead, Port Lincoln turns it on for its annual long lunch. That's next. Over 40 riders have taken part in the Silverton mountain bike poker race. The competition has a unique selling point. The fastest time doesn't necessarily secure a win. It's more of needing luck on your side to claim the main prize.
A unique event with a beautiful backdrop.
It's been a fantastic day, no accidents, which is fantastic, and I think everybody's had a really good time.
Dozens of mountain bike enthusiasts lined up for the 20th Silverton Poker Race yesterday morning. 5 laps of the Silverton Heritage Trail, a journey of over 30 kilometres. And you don't have to be the fastest round to be the winner.
Every lap, the timekeepers draw a card for you, and at the end of the day, the cards are tallied up, and you could be the first rider or the last rider across the line and still win.
Riders young and old took part. Organisers say the event always draws a wide variety of riders at different skill levels and styles. However, the less said about this rider's costume, the better.
We have got some really good riders, but we've got some people that just come out and enjoy the social aspect of the mountain biking scene.
Tyler Beraldson from Mildura took the line honours, completing the 5 laps at blistering speed. But the luckiest on the day with the best poker hand was Lucas Danner from Adelaide, who took home the art prize by local artist Amanda Johnson.
It doesn't matter on the day how fast you ride, as long as you're out there having fun.
The Mountain Bike Club will hold its 2-day multi-event in July. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Well, it's known as one of the biggest events on the region's social calendar. The annual Port Lincoln Long Lunch celebrated its 20th year and again attracted big crowds to enjoy the best of local food and entertainment.
Food and friends with beats and beverages. Port Lincoln dressing up for the biggest feast of the year.
It's awesome, yeah, we love being part of Long Lunch. It sort of caught us a bit by surprise last year, I suppose, about how big it actually was. So got a few more people to help us out today. So yeah, it's awesome.
It's all about food, local produce, food, wine and friendship.
The day wasn't all about indulging. A great cause was in mind too.
We raised money for a local charity, the Variety Club this year, and it's just a great day to get together and have fun.
It's really important for not only Port Lincoln in general, but for Variety, because we're the charity of choice for last year and this year. So it's just great that the venues get on board and support us.
Each year the Long Lunch continues to swell in popularity, and while the event is a popular social outing for the locals, it also attracts many new visitors to the region.
Travelled all the way over from Victor Harbour just for the weekend to enjoy this beautiful long lunch, and we're here to enjoy the fresh produce and all the lovely local drops.
There's a lot of locals, there's also some strangers here, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's a good mix.
Casey Trelaw, Southern Cross News.
Time now for a wrap-up of all the footy action from around the region. Garth Burley joins us. And Garth, a commanding victory for South Augusta.
Yes, Fraser, it was a big scoreline. 143 points the margin. And it really begs the question whether any teams in the Spencer Golf League can challenge the unbeaten Souths for the rest of this season. Souths came out of the blocks hard, the forwards kicking goals to lead by over 100 points at half-time. West fought to stem the flow, pulling together some more structured footy, but frustrations between both sides reached boiling point late in the match. Souths cruising home to their 6th straight win. In other matches, Solly's kept Central Augusta scoreless in the final quarter, and Port moved to second place in a low-scoring game of wet weather footy. In Port Lincoln, the headlining clash of the round between Wayback and Mallee Park saw two determined sides fight it out, Wayback sealing out a tight quarter to win by 10. The other two matches saw blowout scorelines, victories for both Marble Range and Tasman. After a week's break, the Great Flinders League returned, and United Yelena picked up where they left off 2 weeks ago, striding home to their 5th win on the trot against Lock. The Magpies were victorious against the winless Cummins Kapini, and Tumby Bay won at home against Ayr United. In Whyalla, the match between West and North was an absolute pearler, going down to the wire. South defeated Rupina, and Warona Bay made light work of Central. To the northern areas, where an upset saw Broughton Mundura defeat ladder leaders Crystal Brook. Orroroo won their 4th match against Southern Flinders, and the Lions inched over the line by a point to win against Jamestown Peterborough. On the York Peninsula, Southern Eagles scored a tough away win against Ardrossan. 5 goals to Cameron Miller helped Moonta to a big win against Butte, and in the other matches, wins to Wallaroo and Central York. And finally to Broken Hill. South extended their unbeaten streak to 5 matches, beating Central at Alma Oval. And the goals were shared around by the Norse forwards in their victory against Wests. A mixed bag of scores this week. There were some huge deficits, but also some really close and exciting encounters as well. Each week is a different bounce of the ball. I'll be back tomorrow with the rest of sport. Fraser?
Thanks, Garth. We'll stay with us after the break. We'll have all the local weather details with Amy. And it's been a wet start to the week, Amy.
It sure was, Fraser, with the entire Spencer Gulf under some rain clouds today. I'll have all the details next. Welcome back. While temperatures sat in the 20s, it was a wet day around most centres today. 24 the top in Port Augusta, 23 in Whyalla, while Port Lincoln experienced a wet and windy day with a high of 21. Taking a look at the satellite now, and a low pressure trough is bringing showers and the odd thunderstorm across central and eastern parts of South Australia. Skies are generally clear elsewhere with high pressure. Take care if you're heading out on the waters tomorrow, with southwesterly winds shifting subtly, and they will be quite strong, up to 30 knots, while seas will reach 2.5 metres. The sun will rise at 7:13, while sunset is at 5:20. Looking at tomorrow's forecast, and most districts will see a drop in temperatures, with the showers sticking around for another day. Port Augusta, Whyalla and Woodna will all see maximums in the high teens. Showers will clear in Port Lincoln towards the end of the week, with a mostly sunny 20 expected on Friday. Fine conditions are on the way in Cleve and Woodna after possible showers clear midweek. Sunshine for Whyalla in the coming days, with maximums sitting in the high teens. Port Augusta will hit 20 by the end of the week, while it'll be mostly sunny in Kadina with tops of 18. After showers clear in Port Perry, maximums will hit 20 by the start of the weekend. Clare will remain slightly cooler, with temperatures sitting in the teens, and it is set to cool down in Broken Hill, reaching 17 on Thursday. So Fraser, after a wet start to the new working week, conditions are looking like they'll fine up in the coming days.
Looks like we'll need our umbrellas for another day or two. Thanks, Amy. And that's the local news for this Monday. Thanks for your company. Enjoy your evening. Good night.